we got to sign her. I was like, I'm already there. I'm like, I'm already there and I tell her, I heard it on the phone. I wanted to sign it because he played me that shit on the phone. I was like, yo, I got to sign this because she had a little dance hall thing going on and she was ill. And she played me Princess of the Posse that day too. Rest in peace, Apache, no doubt, was my man. And we decide we're going to sign him. We go down to the basketball court. We play ball on Riverside. I mean, on East River Drive. I want to say 88th Street, 90th Street. I used to play the repeat nights too. And Latifah could play ball. That's it too. And Latifah is nice. And we're playing and we smoke out. And I'm like, I love these guys. 45 King is there. He don't play ball. And we do the deal. Next thing you know, we start making the records, man. You know, the crazy thing is 45 King, in lieu of his producer advance, he had us get him a PO number at Sam Ash. And I met him at Sam Ash, and he picked up a 900, an S900, because he didn't have one. And we went to his crib in East Orange, New Jersey, and he set that shit up. And his house was like a beat. It was like a hip-hop museum. He had a turnstile, a subway turnstile. His shit was so art-directed. He had his diner, like a booth from a diner in there. He had mad records. He started giving me records. He gave me that Cult album. He never remembers he gave me The Mail Must Go Through. It's like a $300-400 record now. He always forgets that too. And I was like, yo, you gave me that record. He's like, no, I don't know that record. I'm like, you used that record, bro. So anyway, we signed her and the rest is history. Man, that record too, I got the test pressing during New Music Seminar. And I gave it again to Uncle Red. And he played it in the club that night. And everyone was rocking out. He played both sides of it. And he played both sides of it on the radio show. And he played it the day after I gave it on the radio show. Princess of the Posse and Wrath of My Madness. And I knew we had one. I knew it was officially a joint just by the way everyone reacted.
Dope. Digital Underground.
What happened?
Digital Underground.
Oh, Digital Underground. So a guy I worked with named Ed Strickland was a radio promoter. He used to be he did tour promotion. And he knew H. and Gregory, and he was always playing me corny shit, no doubt. He was sending me he always had corny joints. But we had hired Ed as promo guy, and Ed was like, yo, listen to this. And the artwork was crazy. And I listened to it, and I was like, yo, it's good. And I was like, yeah, I like it. And I played it again. It was Underwater Rhymes. That's the first one before Do What You Like. And I played it in the office, and De La happened to be in. And Paz was like, yo, you need to sign that. And I was like, yeah, I do. And we did the deal. That was it. It was simple, that easy. And Mace brought me Uptown because I was his hood cousin. And, you know, that we did that one. That wasn't a big hit. That's a record that got bigger as time went on. And De La got dropped in my lap. So that's Tommy Boy, you know. And I didn't get to make the Digital Underground record because I left. I left because I wasn't making no money, and I got a real job for a real offer to go work at Elektra, and I took it.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So that was your reason to go to Elektra.
Yeah, because you know, I was signing all these hits, and I had this friend named Tim Card, rest in peace. He's the guy who stole the Beastie Boys from Def Jam and put them on Capitol. Tim knew I was friends with the Beasties, and he knew I had some things. You know, he knew about me, and he offered me a job. And I remember he had signed Mantronics, and he played me Mantronics' new record, and I was like, that ain't it, man. I was like, you need me over here. And he was like, yeah, and he took me to lunch. He said, so, would 60,000 do it? I'm making like 28,000 a year, 30,000 a year, and I'm still selling weed, dead ass. I'm still a weed seller in the office, no less. Pete hit me today. He said, the what's it called? 3 the Hard Way Weed Service. Me and him search. We have a bullshit weed service. Man, I tried to stay at Tommy Boy, and they didn't offer me the bread. So. I remember Tim Carr offered me 60, and I said, 60? And he goes, 65? I don't want to insult you. And I was like, what? And I went to a lecture with $70,000 a year.
Dope.
My lawyer negotiated with Bob Krass, and this guy named Raul Roach. He's the best. He helped me sign P-Rock and CL Smooth. He plugged me in, and he was a friend. I knew him from, I don't know, he was around. He was a cool ass. His father's Max Roach. He gave me the gig.
Did your production start coming into play about this time?
It did, because so I guess you could say I ghost produced Dope on Plastic. I had all the records. CJ put it together for me, but it was my idea, and so I knew something. And watching De La and them make their records, I figured out I could probably make records too. And they were borrowing records from. They borrowed the for Say No Go, the Detroit Emeralds, um, Baby Let Me Hold You, and they borrowed Pos borrowed the Get On My Life Woman Lee Dorsey from me. I was collecting records and I was stealing my dad's records, and I had inherited my sister's record collection, and I always bought records. I've been buying soul records forever. I always had records. So I had my records from when I was a kid. So I started thinking I knew some things, and I started I was going to learn how to use some equipment, and I started tinkering around a little with the, asking people, asking S9, asking Sam Seven, other people how to do stuff. I left before I came out. I was already gone, so I don't, that whole Pete Rock deal went away. Whoever's asking that, so I can't really tell you that I had nothing to do with I not coming out. So what was I saying? So yeah, so I started messing with my boys and Simulate Dummies. I bumped into John Gamble in Central Park, and he told me he was trying to make beats and figure out equipment, and I was like, oh, and they invited me down, and I came down with Hi Pauline, I love you, and I came down there with records, and they had a bullshit turntable, and I was like, you know what? I got a 1200, I got an SL 1200, I got a mixer. I brought that shit down. They're like, whoa. So that's how I finessed my way into the crew. And we just went from there. Gamble started showing me how to do things. I was using an MMT8 sequencer and an S900, and then we bought an FZ1. And then as we progressed, we got a SV1200. But I mostly used MP. That was mostly my box.
How did the name Stimulated Dummies come about, SD50s?
Buster Rhymes. So we were in a session with Leaders of New School, early Leaders of New School session. And Buster's, we used to smoke so much weed. I mean, Gibi, my partner, rest in peace, Gibi DeJohnny, he was quite a salesman. He always had a lot of trees around, and I was quite a smoker. So it just always happened, and we just fucking get lit all the time. And he was there, and Buster was there, and we were all stoned, and we were so high. He was like, "Yo, motherfuckers, a bunch of stimulated dummies." And Gibi was like, "Yo, I can use that." He's like, "Yeah," because we're gonna call ourselves very white music. We thought that was funny, but we didn't do that. And then we called ourselves Stimulated Dummies. And our studio number was 50, so we were Stimulated Dummies, but we're in Studio 50. And it's also Studio Dungeon because we're in the basement, so Studio Dungeon 50. So DB was the one who put the SD50 in effect. And anything that was like funny or like swift and smart, witty, Gibi was always that guy. He was one of the funniest people we ever met. He was like the secret weapon in a way. He did step to the rear.
You seem to be on fire at Elektra. I'm going to go down the list of these artists, and you tell me your first interaction in a great memory. Brand Nubian.
I met Grand Poobah at Latin Quarters. He was in Master of Ceremony, and Sexy was popping, Cracked Out was popping. I was a fan. I told him that. I asked him what he's doing. He told me he was his group broke up. He was gonna come play me some shit. He came and played me a pause tape. And then he had one song, Ain't Going Out Like That, with the James Brown sample. And that hook ended up basically being the same exact hook from Cypress Hill later on, because Muggs and them had the demo. I'd give it to him later. And we never used the song. We never made it a song. So somehow via osmosis, it became one of their songs. I don't want to say they consciously jacked it or anything, but it just became their song. And so I wanted Poobah, and I worked with Tommy Boy to produce Latifah. I wanted them to do a song together because we were all fans. De La were fans. And De La were great A&R guys. Latifah was a fan. We fucked Prince Paul was a fan. We fucked with his music because he was so dope. And the record never came because he had that record Red Posse on Mass Ceremony record. And it felt like him and Latifah could do something like that. And it never happened. He kept missing meetings. When he finally came, I was ready to bounce. And I was like, yo, I'm about to go over here. Why don't you hold up and I'll bring you with me? And he was like, bet. And I will say to this, I don't think he waited because he had any allegiance to me. He waited because he was going to get a bigger check. Because he wanted me to, I was going to sign Tommy Boy. I thought about it, but I knew I was leaving. And Monica, I remember Monica told me, I don't think that it's ethical that you sign Grand Poobah. Because he came in the door here and we all like him. And I said, I'm not going to sign Grand Poobah because I was going to sign Brand Nubian. So I'm going to sign Brand Nubian.
How hard was that to that group? How hard was that to sell to Elektra? Was it immediate?
It wasn't hard to sell to Elektra because they were going to let me do whatever I wanted right away. First, I signed a girl named Shazzy, and I kind of flopped. And that's the first album me and SD50s ever produced. It flopping was put me on the ropes a little bit, but I also learned a lot. So it was a learning lesson, and we learned how to make records. So that was really helpful in the long run. Brand Nubian was met with, no one cared. The first video didn't do anything. Feel So Good is terrible, but they started to be very difficult to work with internally within the label. They were 5%ers. They definitely gave people a hard time. They at times said some anti-Semitic things to a few people, which I thought, in retrospect, is kind of funny. So, they're 5%ers with the Jewish A&R guy. And they swiped all these car vouchers from someone's desk, and they rang up $16,000 in car voucher bills. The album cost $60,000 to make, 45, and with I had a $60,000 budget. I went over budget because of the thievery of car vouchers, and I got the extra money to finish the record. But by the time we put out Wake Up, they had started to connect, and it started going. And by the time the record came out, say 2 months into it, it was a sleeper. It started selling. It was all good. I mean, they always gave the white devil at the label a hard time, me excluded. But I had to really win my trust with them. They had to know that I was about it. X was always cool. Jamar was angry. And he stole the vouchers, and Pooh-Bah was irresponsible. And he would do shit. He somehow convinced the studio worked at Calliope to give him petty cash every day. So he'd get there before everyone else so he could steal $50 in petty cash that they'd go back to the studio. It was an endless amount of shit like that. But it was fun. That record's a great record. And in the middle of doing it, I'm 2/3 the way through, halfway through, I realized I got a piece of art. I got a beautiful record. Much like De La, I was like, this is really fucking good. Like this is great. Like I'm like, and they're saying something, and it's real, it's conscious, it's important music. And I backed the brothers up, and they saw that I backed them up, and by the time the record came out, we were like family. And to this day, I still consider them all family.
There's a larger than life figure in underground hip hop and hip hop as a general. His name is MF Doom. Can you take us back to your first interaction with Zev Love X and KMD?
I mean, he was a baby, man. He was a little kid, He was right out of high school, and Sub Rock was, in high school but not going. And I met him from Search. Search brought him to me, and they were on the gas station. Doom was, and their demos were great. And I decided I was going to do the deal. Third base for my boys. I had produced Pop Goes the Weasel. I did that later, but I was friends with them. Like I kind of helped Third Base become Third Base. I individually introduced them both to Sam Sever, and I was there when Sam Sever was like, maybe y'all should be a group, and I was like, yeah, So Third Base, if I had known more back then, they would have been wherever I was, and I would have caught a plaque with them, but I didn't. I never made any money with Third Base, which is wild. So I signed Zev Love X, KMD, because of my relationship with Third Base.
Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
My boss who hired me, Raul Roach, loved Pete Rock and CL Smooth. I was kind of hot, like Leaders was hitting, and Brand Nubian was hitting, and MF Doom, KMD was hitting a little bit, and they fell in my lap. He wanted to do business with Eddie F because he loved Heavy D and the Boys, because Roll's more kind of was an R&B kind of guy. He worked with Keith Sweat and all this other stuff. And he really liked the demos, asked me what I thought. I thought they were great. And he said, I want to sign this, but I don't want to do it unless you want to do it with me. And you have to co-sign it with me because this is the world you live in. But I think it's really good. And I was like, I'm all in, because I was hearing Pete on the In Control show, and he was playing the demos. And it was a no-brainer. It was really easy. And then Raul left before the record came out. He never got to enjoy the success. And making that record so easy, because Pete just, he was on fire. It was like you show up and the record's done. You don't have to do much. So he was always like at that point in his career, him and Eddie and all those guys were just super cool to work with. They were really easy, and that's a little later too, because I'd gone through. You neglected Leaders in there. Because Leaders was before Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
Oh, Dirty Bastard. We heard of the story. You on your way in your car, and you heard him on the radio. You made your way up.
It wasn't my car. I was coming home from a club. We're gonna go out, and I was in the house actually. I know Bob said I was in the cab, but I wasn't. I was in the house listening, and I heard him, and I was blown away. So I ran out the house and got a cab, and I went uptown and went right to the show, and I called. I said, "Yo, is it cool if I come up?" And Seer was like, "Yeah, fam, whatever, whatever." I ran up there, and he was there. He was there with, I believe, RZA, Master Killer might have been there, and Mookie was there. And I was like, and RZA told me, he said, "Yo, I know you. You knew me when I was whack. You know the guy Mel Kwan." And I was like, "Oh, word, that's my man, the Funky President, Mel Kwan, who was their man. He's one half of Shabazz Brothers, and he also Shabazz Fuller was the other guy, and he had put out Holy Wars by Divine Force. So I know Mel Kwan was like 6'7", and I used to hang out with him and Just Ice at the Land Quarters and smoke blunts. So I was like, oh, bet. Mel Kwan is my man. I was a good standing with Mel Kwan. And I told him, yo, come see me. That was a Thursday. He didn't come Friday. He came on Monday. And he came with Deck, Mookie, Divine, Dirty. And I told him that I wanted to have, I want to make a group, Method Man and Dirty. They would be the new EPMD. And he was like, yo, that's ill, but we're not going to do that. Because I'm going to put him over there with Russell. But your man right here, I want to put him with the gods. So that's how I ended up doing it. And the rest is history. I mean, it's a tough record to make, but also, you know, maybe the one I'm the most proud of.
What's one of the best memories, craziest memories, something you never said and the statute of limitations are lifted about working with ODB?
I seen him get a blowjob publicly at How Can I Be Down in Miami, just dead ass by the side of the stage by this entrance, like, and everyone could see him by these little bleachers. Some young white girl was just giving him, was blessing him, and he was like, yo, Dante, yo, check it out. Yo, I'm getting blessed Elektra style. I'm doing the Elektra style. And I was like, all right, man, fucking right on, you fucking maniac. That was one of many. There's so, I mean, look, the dude was a walking, I mean, I saw him do so much shit. I saw him come right off the stage at this Rap Pages seminar in LA, right on the Sunset and Cahuenga, and jump on the mailbox as they cut the sound off. After he rocked so hard, he went right on the mailbox and just did his show a cappella for like 200 people. I had to get him down there because we would get arrested because the whole club followed him out. He just did his show impromptu, no mic, nothing. It was mind-bogglingly incredible. Like, the dude was just, you know, it was fucking, you never know what was going to happen next. There's no separation between art and his being. What you saw is what you got. And I love the brother for that. He was a genius, man. He invented the album covers all his idea. Like, it's endless the amount of stories I could spin. I'm gonna save them for the book, though. A lot of them are in the book. He got only 2 people got a whole chapter in the book. Him, no 3, the Beasties, him, and Everlast. No one else got a whole chapter. But his chapter, I think, is the most exciting.
Dope. Is there any artist that you had your hands on that somebody may have outbid you or took from you?
There's so many I lost. I mean, the first one was Tribe Called Quest. So
wow.
They were supposed to be my first group at Elektra, and my friend Sean actually got them and signed them to Jive. Chris Lighty, we had a bidding war. We offered $375, and I lost them to Jive Records, who took half the publishing. But that should have been my first group, and I lost them. And I got to tell you, to this day, that's the group that hurts the most. That's the group I lost that still bothers me the most, because they would have kept their publishing. Elektra was unproven, so we didn't get them. And Ali and Tip always know this, and I stay friends with them. Another group is Cypress Hill. I had their demo. Wow. I wanted to sign them. My boss wouldn't let me sign them because Killing Man was he thought it was too crazy. He's like, I'm not signing that to talk about killing cops. I'm not doing it. And I remained friends with them forever. And I never really had the nerve to tell them that's why I couldn't sign them. But I should have signed them, and I should have fought harder for them. DOS Effects, the deal got too expensive. And DLC was going to be my second act. Wow. But I think Jerry Heller was just pulling my chain. I don't think I ever really had a shot at it. I think he's just fucking with me. And I remember Easy Michelle and Dr. Dre in my office with Jerry Heller talking about me trying to sign him. And my boss told me Jerry Heller was no good. Bob Krasno, he knew him from back. He said, that guy's no good. And we didn't get the group.
Wow. Looking back.
And DOC had a complete album. If you notice, his album was his demo. The whole shit was done. They shot the finished album with one extra song in it called Bridget, which was 2X rated. East West made him take it off the album. And actually, Jerry Heller came to play me DOC at Tommy Boy. And I was going to skate out the door with that because Tommy Boy wouldn't pay it. He wanted $175, and Tommy Boy said, no, it's too expensive.
Crazy. Tell me, was there somebody back in the day that you just wasn't feeling?